If you've ever looked out over the ocean, you might have realized just how vast it is. Covering more than 70% of the planet, oceans influence life far beyond the coastlines. They control global weather patterns and climate, shaping conditions everywhere on Earth. Nearly 90% of all global trade relies on maritime transport, from food and clothing to vehicles and fuel. Oceans are also believed to be the cradle of life itself. Despite their significance, over 80% of the ocean remains unexplored. For centuries, sailors have recounted tales of mysterious creatures, sunken cities, haunted vessels, and strange occurrences at sea. Among these, one real-life enigma has perplexed the world for almost 150 years: the ghost ship Mary Celeste. The date was December 4, 1872. Around the world, Mount Vesuvius had erupted in Italy, the first FA Cup final had taken place in England, and a meteorite would soon strike near Banbury. None of this mattered to Captain David Morehouse of the Canadian ship Dei Gratia, who spotted a lone vessel adrift in the North Atlantic. It was the Mary Celeste, a cargo ship that had departed New York 8 days earlier, carrying roughly 1,700 barrels of denatured alcohol, a substance used for fuel, cleaning, and industrial purposes. The Mary Celeste had a troubled history. Originally named Amazon, her maiden voyage in 1861 was marred when the captain fell ill and died. Under a new captain, the ship collided with fishing gear off Maine and sank another vessel in the English Channel. In 1867, she ran aground during a storm and was abandoned. Eventually purchased, repaired, and renamed Mary Celeste, she continued her journey under new ownership. When Morehouse's crew approached, they noted the ship's erratic movement and damaged sails. Knowing she was overdue in Genoa, Morehouse altered course to investigate. Boarding the vessel, they discovered it abandoned. There were no signs of fire, violence, or struggle. Sails were torn, rigging was hanging loose, and while the main hatch remained covered, the fore and aft hatch covers were removed. The cargo was intact, and the hold contained over 3 feet of water. One of the 2 pumps had been dismantled, but the ship was still seaworthy. The lifeboat and 10 people were gone. The crew's personal effects were undisturbed, and provisions were enough for 6 months. Most papers were missing, including navigational instruments, while the logbook ended with an entry on November 25th, placing the Mary Celeste near Santa Maria Island in the Azores. By the time of discovery, she had drifted 750 kilometers east. Among the missing were Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, and 7 crew members. Experienced and reliable, they were unlikely to leave without cause. Morehouse sailed the ship to Gibraltar to claim salvage, where authorities examined the circumstances. Marks on the bow and stains suggested foul play, sparking rumors that the Dei Gratia crew had committed murder for salvage rights. Yet investigations and scientific analysis disproved such claims. Other speculations included murder in a religious frenzy or an insurance scam with Morehouse. Over time, the story was distorted. An 1883 Los Angeles Times article falsely described the ship as fully rigged with dinner still on the table. Arthur Conan Doyle wrote a fictional tale in 1884 that contributed to mythologizing the event. Some theories proposed natural causes, a waterspout, a seaquake, or a buildup of toxic fumes from the alcohol cargo might have prompted an urgent evacuation. The theory involving alcohol fumes gained traction due to the construction of the barrels. 9 were made of red oak, which is more porous than white oak, potentially allowing vapors to accumulate in the hold. In 2006, Dr. Andrea Sella recreated the Mary Celeste's hold with paper cubes representing barrels and used butane to simulate an ignition of fumes. The experiment showed a powerful blast could occur without leaving scorch marks, soot, or fire damage, supporting the idea that a sudden, explosive threat could have forced the crew to abandon ship. Another explanation came from forensic researcher Anne McGregor, who examined notes from the salvage trial alongside oceanic data. She concluded that Captain Briggs's navigational instruments were likely malfunctioning, placing the ship about 120 nautical miles west of where he believed it to be. The previous night, Rough weather and broken pumps left the crew unable to accurately measure water intake. Fearing the vessel was sinking and seeing land supposedly within reach, Briggs may have decided to attempt reaching Santa Maria Island. Although risky, it seemed the most practical choice under the circumstances. However, abandoning the ship and leaving the logbook behind remained unusual for a captain of the era. 19th century maritime protocol required meticulous record-keeping even in emergencies. While we may never know exactly what occurred, it is clear that the Mary Celeste's misfortune did not end with the crew's disappearance. After the salvage trial in Gibraltar, the ship sailed to Italy as planned and then onward to New York. By the time she arrived, rumors of murder, mutiny, and supernatural happenings had circulated widely. The vessel's reputation was tarnished, making it difficult for the owners to find work or buyers. She was eventually sold at a loss, and subsequent captains faced tragedies of their own. In 1879, a Captain Parker orchestrated a scheme to profit from the ship through insurance fraud. He and a group of associates loaded the Mary Celeste with worthless cargo, insured it for a substantial sum, and intentionally ran her aground near Haiti, effectively ending her operational life. Investigations revealed the scheme, and Parker faced charges of barratry, a serious crime involving the deliberate destruction of a ship. Though he avoided the death penalty, his reputation was ruined, and he died in poverty 3 months later. Some of his co-conspirators met tragic ends, with one succumbing to madness and another committing suicide. Through all these events, the Mary Celeste's story remained steeped in misfortune, accidents, and speculation. 3 captains died prematurely, fueling beliefs that the ship was cursed. From her abandoned crew to the fateful fraud attempt, her history is an extraordinary chain of unusual and tragic occurrences, making her one of the most famous maritime mysteries in history. Today, the Mary Celeste rests at the bottom of the ocean, a permanent reminder of the mysteries of the sea and the many stories it still holds. The Mary Celeste story continues to captivate historians, maritime enthusiasts, and mystery seekers alike. Despite numerous theories, experiments, and investigations, no definitive answer exists for the disappearance of Captain Briggs, his family, and the crew. The combination of natural hazards, human error, and bad luck seems to have converged into a single, unforgettable maritime tragedy. Her legacy lives on in countless books, studies, and discussions about unexplained sea phenomena. From potential explosions caused by alcohol fumes to navigational mistakes and abandoned lifeboats, every explanation sheds light on some aspect of the mystery while leaving others unanswered. The Mary Celeste embodies the unpredictable and often perilous nature of life at sea during the 19th century, and her story serves as a reminder of how little we truly understand about the oceans. Even today, the ship remains a symbol of the unknown, an enigma that continues to inspire curiosity and speculation. The ocean, vast and largely unexplored, holds many secrets, but few have captured the imagination like the silent voyage of the Mary Celeste. I truly hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider subscribing for more content, and I'll see you in the next one.